Namaskar. I Shambhavi welcome you all to your channel Galactic Echoes. So let's start exploring the wisdom of Vedic astrology. So today we'll be talking about another interesting topic, that is seventh from moon. So wherever your moon is placed in the natal chart, that is D1, you will have to look 7 places away, that is the 7th house exactly opposite to it, to know the characteristics of your spouse. So let's dive in. The concept of seventh from Chandra provides insights into the type of subconscious expectations one brings into the marriage in the current lifetime, based on the past life agreements with designated life partners. Now, this analysis extends to various types of partnerships, reflecting the emotionally therapeutic engagement between the partners. But why is it so? Why do we have to take moon for this consideration? This is because the planet moon represents water, and water can store energy. What kind of energy an individual possesses? It is the past life karmic memory, which also influences the present life as well. Present life karma in a prolific way. So now we can take features, of the moon to deduce the results, like the spouse serve as a mirror, reflecting aspects of one's own behavior that one may not otherwise perceive. Because it is the water where you can see your reflection. Here it is only about spouse. Specifically, characteristics of the core partnership are also reflected in other types of alliances, such as business partnerships or important agreements. But this technique is majorly used for matchmaking. So you can look for a spouse as well through this method. Also, a point to note here is romantic partners who are not life partners might reflect the qualities of the fifth from the Lagna or fifth from the moon or Chandra. For romance specifically, you can check the fifth Navamsha as well. That means the fifth house of your Navamsha chart as well. So the purpose of the bhav, which is the seventh from moon, incites various characteristics about your spouse, which are derived from the 7th house, directly opposite to the moon. What is this? So how we have to look on to this house? The basic purpose of the bhav or the house, qualities of its ruler and occupants as well, and the aspects upon the house. We have to check all of these considerations before giving a prediction. But today we'll stick just to the houses, the relevance of houses only. Rulers of the 7th from moon indicate shared activities, focus, and social purpose of the union. So we'll be discussing this method by analyzing the placement of the moon through all the houses on your D1 natal chart. So when moon is in the first house of your horoscope, it is comforted by active movement. It represents an energetic, competitive, dynamic, and forward moving individual. It seeks a life partner with the qualities resembling the 7th house, which is directly opposite to the first house, which indicates a person who is diplomatic, balancing, adjusting, negotiating, and harmonizing. See, moon in the first house tends to be physically and emotionally self-sufficient, because it is also the basic karaka of the resources in your life. So marriage is seen as a social relationship of both local stability and public reputation. And the partner resembling the 7th house features is emotionally identified with roles involving advising, consulting, negotiating, balancing, and harmonizing. It likely to be a profession in fields such as legal, counseling, or deal making roles. Example: attorneys, counselors, advocates, negotiators, brokers, etc. The spouse is typically an advocate who speaks on the native's behalf. and functions as a bridge between the native and external affairs. Now we have to see that the seventh house, it creates a bhavat bhavam from both the fourth house, as it is the fourth from the fourth, and from the 10th house, which is the 10th from the 10th. So here marriage is important for both local stability, which represents the importance of bhav or the fourth house, and public dignity, which represents the importance of 10th house. Marriage serves as marriage serves to enhance social dignity through a socially recognized partnership. The union typically features constant emotional bargaining to accommodate the Chandra placed in your first house needs. Even if emotionally self-sufficient, the first house Chandra may marry for cultural or religious or political reasons. Disagreements or challenges in the union arise from the 12th house. All the problems and disturbances in marriage are seen from the 12th house. Why? Because it is the 6th from the 7th house, indicating all the upheavals in the marriage. And what are the 12th house? So disagreements can come through private rooms, imagination, theory, clear sentiment, guidance, and seclusion, etc. Potential conflict over private matters, paternal grandmother, distant travels, or spiritual withdrawal can be seen. Mental or behavioral imbalances within the spouse might be reflected by the 12th house, which is the 12th paces away from the Chandra factors. Now, the sign and planets placed in the 7th house will also alter the results and should be taken into consideration for precise predictions. Now, when moon goes into the 2nd house, then this moon is focused on lineage, values collection, and wealth accumulation. Okay, and it seeks a life mate with traits associated with the 8th house, which is directly opposite to it, who is mysterious, transformative, and often involved in hidden or camouflaged activities. The marriage is often veiled in secrecy and transformation, and it involves significant emotional and psychological challenges because it is the 8th house which is connected here. Now, this life mate, they can exhibit traits such as mysterious, transformative, and secretive identity also. They can be involved in hidden relationships as well, confidential activities, and tantric healing or rejuvenation work. Now, hidden relationships are pertaining to their profession, not to their personal life. Partners experiences sudden and unexpected identity changes, eruptions of force, and engages in cycles of birth, death, and renewal, like a roller coaster ride throughout the marriage. Likely influenced by their family, meaning in-laws, or associated with trauma, healing, disaster response, or hidden wealth management as well. The marriage tends to be camouflaged or masked, often hidden from public awareness. Spouses' primary identity may remain unseen or undercover, and they could be involved in activities that are not transparent or undisclosed. And you can also see that with this placement, marriage may include undisclosed assets, classified information, or secretive family influence. The relationship is characterized by mystery, including hidden factors, private matters, and unexpected eruptions of secrets as well. Now, the 8th house represents in-laws. So, they may have a significant influence on your marriage as well, or your whole marriage dynamic. Now, the 6th from this placement, which is the 8th house, is the first house, reflects the constitutional challenges in marriages. So, the challenges may involve the partner's personality, physical identity, or new births. There may be conflict regarding matters of athletics, competition, and individuality. Partner's identity is often hidden, with their true nature concealed from the native and the public as well. The marriage can be emotionally intense, requiring constant self-transformation on the part of the native, not on the spouse. Now, the 8th house suggests that the partner may engage in surgery, healing, tantric practices, or work in confidential crisis or emergency management as well. So the thing is that the spouse will bring all the karakas of the 8th house into your life, and all the karakas of the first house will be behaving will be the cause of upheaval in your marriage. Now, when moon is in the 3rd house, it indicates a person who is communicative, business oriented, involved in practical, commercial, or administrative tasks. These individuals often seek companionship from a partner who is philosophical, wise, and connected to global perspectives or belief system, because the exact opposite to the 3rd house is the 9th house. The life partner is often a guiding teacher like figure with a strong connection to wisdom, philosophical doctrines, and global awareness because of the 9th house. These all are the karakas of the 9th house. The life partner often embodies qualities of the 9th house related to global perspectives, theory, higher understanding, religious or scientific doctrines, or teaching as well. In the teaching roles, they can be in the teaching roles as well. This partner may be seen as a muse, providing philosophical guidance and wisdom. Lifemate often holds a prestigious role, such as a professor, a preacher, or other influential doctrinal figure, depending on the planets in the 9th house. Now, the relationship may bring emotional and material benefits because it is a good placement, often through shared projects involving communications, commerce, or philosophical teaching. So, this can also indicate a good yoga for you and your spouse doing business together. So, for women, this moon in the 3rd house often signifies marrying a partner who mirrors paternal qualities or performs similar work as their father. The partnership may evoke deep emotional connections to fatherly figures, teachers, or religious guides. Now, the men with this placement, moon in the 3rd house, they may seek a life partner who serves as a guiding muse or paternal figure, bringing philosophical insights and wisdom into the marriage. Now, the 6th from the 9th house is the 2nd house. So, disagreements in the marriage will be seen from there. So, it may arise over matters of finances, values, or family traditions. Issues can stem from differences in financial management, speech, loyalty to tradition, or values. There may be challenges related to misalignment in expectations, especially concerning the spouse's mental or behavioral imbalances. All the karakas of the 2nd house will uh, pose challenges into your marriage, and all the karakas of the 9th house, for example, fortune, luck, and fatherly love and security, will be poured into the marriage by your spouse. So, when moon goes into the 4th house, it represents the personality traits of a security seeking person who is rooted in place of settlement, land, and its resources. He or she finds solace in uh, traditional ways, dwellings, and natural environment like schools and seasonal routines. These natives, they seek protection from the karakas of the 10th house because it is the directly opposite to it. It is situated 7 places away. That is public life, responsibilities, etc. The karakas of the 10th house. And they seek a stable, culturally grounded, rhythmically repeating lifestyle, security, and a protective, nurturing environment because the original karaka of the 4th house is moon. So, for the traits of the spouse, we'll see the 10th house, which is directly opposite to the 4th house. which represents a spouse that is socially prominent. He or she is a spouse who is responsible, executive, showing leadership. He's elite, he's dutiful or regulatory, and maintaining the public order, because it is the 10th house which we are talking about. So the spouse is expected to have a dignified social profile and bring respectability and social rank into the marriage. The relationship may not prioritize emotional support or mutual affection, but rather the need for societal respect and elevated status. Depending on the Karmesh, that is the 10th Lord ruling the 10th house, the union may or may not have deep emotional connection. If the Lord of the 10th house is favorable to the Lord of the 4th house, then you can expect this. Here, primary purpose of marriage is to maintain hierarchical status and public reputation. The native with the moon in the 4th house focuses on providing a secure home, while the partner handles social authority and leadership roles, because he identifies himself or herself with the 10th house. Now, this results in minimal overlap between the spheres, with each partner occupying a distinct role in the partnership, or the poles opposite. Axis is poles opposite, but the thing is, the couple is often seen as respectable members of conventional society, because they are doing their roles very well. The native with the moon in the 4th house supports the spouse's rise into authoritative and socially elite roles, and he is the caretaker at the home, because your moon, you have moon in your 4th house. The partners of these natives, they may enjoy a socially secure and publicly recognized status, particularly if the 10th house is well disposed. For women, particularly in traditional societies, this placement or this arrangement might involve pushing their masculine partner into the towards societal recognition and governance. Why? Because the planet sun finds digbal in the 10th house. So from the 6th, from the 10th, if we have to see, is the 3rd house. Now, what is this 3rd house? The 3rd house is something which is the primary conflict in the union, such as accusations, disappointments, disagreement, matters related to siblings, schoolmates, communication, and project management. So these are the core insights which we'll get from this placement. So now moving forward, in the moon going into the 5th house of your horoscope, the personality traits of the natives, they resemble romantic, dramatic, regal attention needing, and fond of center stage activities and roles. They draw comfort from creative performance, entertainment, political activities, and speculative ventures, as if stock markets, and personal entitlements also, because it is the original house of the planet sun. Now, their emotional needs, the emotional need of this native, it pertain to bright intelligence and glittering entertainments and amusements, where the primary traits will be seen from the 11th house, which is directly opposite to the 5th house for the spouse, which gives a community oriented, friendly, profit seeking. It is the gains, because a spouse which has the central obsession of the spouse is towards all these things. Now, the spouse may be active in large group events, collective consciousness, economically engaged and focused on earnings, kind of personality. Life mate's role is described through bhav 11, the 11th house, which is the labsthan, now which represents community, profit, systems, and associations. So all the karakas of the 11th house will be brought into the union by your spouse. Life mate's identity, it revolves around economic gainfulness, social networks, and systems of collective engagement. Now, the original in Kapurush's Kundali, it is ruled by the regulatory Shani or Saturn, implying the interlinks are orderly and systematic. So you will see that Saturn factor always in the spouse. The marriage of these natives, that it tends to evolve into a long-lasting friendship, because of the 11th house, which also represents our friends as well. The union is likely to endure even through emotional volatility due to the couple's shared goal of profit and social engagement, which is the 11th house. It is the goal of the marriage. Now, the marriage here, it focuses on collective goals, mutual achievements, and the challenging dynamics in the union. It comes from the 6th from the 11th house, which becomes the 4th house of home, homeland, mother, roots, which becomes the potential source of conflict within the marriage or within the union. Now, disagreements they may arise regarding matters of patriotism, property ownership, national allegiance, schooling, or personal comfort zones. So, if there is tension, the spouse may view the native's home culture or mother figures as the adversarial, leading to discomfort in the union. Now, this can increase the natives proclivity to respond by re-establishing their roots further straining the relationship. So this is something to be taken into consideration, but overall this acts as mutually friendly for marriage, and presuming that your 11th house is well disposed, the spouse becomes a friend and partner in shared social circle and economic goals. So now moon goes into the 6th house. It gives the personality that is service oriented, focused on caregiving, ministering, and remedy seeking. This personality, it tends to seek companionship in a life mate who exhibits characteristics of the 12th house, such as being distant, enclosed, and identity dissolving. Life mate may be spatially distant, foreign, or emotionally unavailable. They may seem inaccessible or self isolated, often operating from a place of interiority and contemplation. Associated with introspection, sleep, and invisibility, this environment shapes the personality of life mate who may engage in hidden or secluded activities and may be emotionally distant despite maintaining the public image of the marriage. Although the 12th house is 6th from the 7th house, the original house of the marriage, indicating a degree of interpersonal conflict, this does not typically lead to divorce or separation, because in this technique we are taking moon as the important entity. The emotional distance between partners grows over time, while the public aspects of the relationship, they continue, because it is moon we are taking into consideration. There is often a sense of being stuck with no clear path to either stay or leave the relationship. The partner often self isolates or become emotionally unavailable, depending on the strength of the planets in Bhav 12 or the 12th house. The partner may still maintain a public role or reputation while retreating inwardly in the marriage. In summary, the moon in the 6th house individual often experiences an emotionally draining but enduring marriage with a partner who is distant and emotionally secluded. The partner's tendency to withdraw and the native's service oriented nature creates a dynamic of imbalance, familiarity with unfair conditions, and ongoing emotional distance. The relationship may continue indefinitely in this imbalanced state, sustained by a blend of emotional resonance and detachment. But this is a kind of imbalanced state. Also, the challenges in the union will be seen from the 6th house, from the 7th from the moon, which is, or we can say the 12th house from the moon, which is the 5th house. So children and creative pursuits, intelligence, and education, it might create certain challenges in the partners, between the partners in the union. Also, you may see sometimes the people who are living, uh, who are in a distance relationship because of the education, or because of the children, or because of their services, is the same placement which we are talking about. So now moving forward, and the moon goes into the 7th house of your horoscope. Now, this native, he or she possesses key traits of bargaining, fair minded, equity seeking, negotiating, adjusting, arranging, balancing, pair making factors, and they seek a life mate who resembles the first house, which is directly opposite to it or 7 places away to the situation of moon. Now, this indicates a person who is active. The spouse he or she may be active, physicalized, competitive, lively, innovative, inventive, birthing, moving, sporting, dynamic, pioneering, a vital pursuing championship. All these factors will relate to your spouse. They search for a caretaker spouse who is stable, nourishing, parental defender, and protector. The primary focus of the union is the protection of one's personality, mobility, integrity, physique, and social identity with this placement, because it is the first house which we are talking about. Results in this kind of marriage, which is typically a caretaking marriage where the native tends to act as the caretaker, is seen from the first house, which is 7 places away from the moon. A deep need to be engaged in active partnership with the union, bringing comfort and stability, can also be seen. The life partner tends to have a uniquely distinctive and easily recognized personality because he or she resembles with the first house. Traits may be amplified if there are planets in the first house, and the results may be modified. Now, challenges in the union can be seen from the 12th from the Chandra or the moon, or the 6th from the 7th from the moon, that is the 6th house, because the 6th from the characteristics of the spouse, which is the first house, is the 6th house of the horoscope itself. So disagreements in the marriage may arise from the themes of the 6th house, like ailments, deaths, divorce, distrust, accusations, wars, medications, maternal relatives, broken promises, crimes, or legal disputes. The specifics depend on any planets located in the 6th house or the Rog Bhav. People with the moon in the 8th house. Now, these people, they possess key traits of emotionally secretive, penetrating, tantric, healing, undisclosed, camouflaging, emotionally nourished by confidentiality, crisis, and upheaval. All these factors, they revolve around them since childhood. Then they find comfort in hidden sources of nurturing, often seeking security within life's uncertainties. So the life mates they want or they attract tend to have qualities of the second house, which is directly opposite to the 8th house, like curating, lineage protecting, treasury collecting, and other karikas of the second house, like mm, tradition preserving qualities. The spouse focuses on maintaining and preserving the family's wealth, lineage, and traditions. Conditions of the marriage are often framed within the karikas of the second house, and all the narratives which the second house brings, such as enrichment, family genetics, stock, and storage, archives, lineage knowledge, memory, and recollection. So all these karakas, they are poured into your life by your spouse. Containment of assets, historical records and databases, animal husbandry, speech and song, precious collections, and heritage values. These all will be added to your life by your spouse. A strong focus on family lineage, human capital, descendants or students, and heirs. Spouses are often involved in roles like treasurer, archivist, warehouser, conservationist, genetics, and librarian, banker, traditionalist, or museum curator. These all are seen from the second house. The spouse's identity is linked to the expression and maintenance of values, fulfillment in both finance and the arts, because it is the original house of the Venus, which represents arts, and the moon gets exalted here, which represents the resourcefulness in your chart. Spouse tends to be identified with wealth storage, inventory, management, books, record keeping, and preserving family heritage. These people, they attract a spouse who is focused on beauty, heritage, and knowledge, language, money, and the family genetics. Hoarding is seen from the second house, and conservation of historical values. They likely have knowledge. They are likely knowledgeable in banking, history, assessment, music, languages, and archives. May have a strong face. The spouse may have a strong face and voice, because the second house is involved here, representing a lineage that is visibly established and vocal. Challenges in the union, it come from the 6th, from the 7th of the placement of moon, or the 12th from the moon, which becomes the 7th house of your horoscope. So now this is an irony that we see 7th house for the marriage purposes, but here in this placement the 7th house itself is becoming the problems in the marriage. So all the karakas of the 7th house will add into the marital conflict, which include accusations, disappointments, distrust, concerns related to contracts, vows, trusts, and negotiations. Disagreements may involve the maternal grandmother as well, or family related values as well, which is fourth from the fourth. The 7th house is fourth from the fourth. So moving forward, and moon going into the ninth house of your horoscope, the individuals with this placement, they possess key traits of humanism, globalization, philosophical, and divine and doctrinal factors. They are emotionally grounded by doctrines, theories, first principles, preaching, and public spiritual guidance. These people are comfortable in a wide view. They are principled and in principled environments, whether sacred or scientific. They are emotionally attuned to universities, globalism, and broad philosophical understanding. These people often desire qualities of the third house in their life mate, which is directly opposite to the ninth house, where your moon is placed. The life partner tends to be talkative, mercantile, instructional, publishing, teamwork oriented, and communicative, because it is the third house which we are talking about, which is the original house of the Mercury. Life mate is skilled in communication, often serving as a manager, sibling companion, or teammate. And the conditions of the first marriage are often focused on narratives of the uh, third house, which are information management, writing, and announcements, and cohorts, commercial business, and uh, ensemble performances, literacy, documentation, programming, articulated processes. The couple often functions like siblings due to the influence of the third house, and you may see them uh, you know in activities like travel tours, your spouse into travel tours, conferences, seminars, radios, related to radios, television, publications, advertisements, cohort teamwork, scripts, and cinema may be central to the marriage. So all these things which are the karakas of the third house or Mercury. Spouse may be a secretary, reporter, manager, or explainer, because it is the Mercury which imparts all the information around the world. Often a member of one's entourage, ensemble, or cohort, business oriented, skilled in writing, media publications, selling, and commercially inclined. Alternatively, the spouse may be distinguished by manual skills or handcraft expertise, such as artistic, manufacturing, or medical skills like a surgeon or therapist, and in specific cases like, if the Ashwini nakshatra is falling there. But the challenges in the union, they are seen from the 6th from the 7th, where your moon is placed, or the 12th house from the moon, which becomes the 8th house in your horoscope. So the potential conflicts and disagreements in the marriages may arise from the 8th house, including family of the spouse, or in laws, or non-disclosed activities, espionage, camouflage, basically the in-laws, which is a major theme here in India, or occult practices are also seen from the eighth house, secret relationships as well, hidden assets, confidential knowledge, or catastrophic events. Suddenness is the factor, or the uh, karaka of the eighth house. Depending on the nature of any planet located in the eighth house, the marriage may experience tensions related to these hidden or undisclosed matters. Like if Jupiter is in the eighth house, you may see conflicts are arising because your spouse is trying to educate himself hiddenly or in confidentiality. So you might think that he or she is doing something else, but he is not, or she is not, and they are just trying to be educated, and to pour more resources into the family and marriage. But this may ultimately lead to something else or conflict in the marriage. Now moving forward, and the moon goes into the 10th house of your horoscope. So these people with the moon in the 10th house, they are publicly visible. They are leadership oriented, hierarchical, responsible, and socially regulating personalities. Their focus is on narratives of social duty, seniority, leadership, and executive authority, because Sun and Mars, they both find Digbal here in the 10th house, and you'll see the mixed result of your personality in with this placement. They are comfortable in high visibility, patterns or roles. The desired qualities of the life mate can be seen from the fourth house, who embodies the following traits: foundational, sheltering, caretaking, parental, environmentalist, and grounded. Involved in a home based lifestyle with rhythmic and natural patterns. The conditions of the marriage typically follows a narrative which incline towards the fourth house, like environments which are secure, which are grounded, safe, and protected. These conditions are often similar to the childhood home. May just bringing that childhood security in your life of the native, with the life partner being emotionally perceived as an agent of parenting, offering shelter, schooling, ethnic roots, and cultural foundations into the marriage. Now, challenges in the union, they come from the sixth from the fourth house, or the 12th from the moon, which becomes the ninth house of your horoscope, which indicates disagreements or conflicts may arise related to sacred beliefs, philosophical principles, and one's ideology. Differences in paradigmic convictions, father figures, or religious doctrines may lead to friction in the union. Ideological viewpoints, or the personality of one's father, the well-being of the mother, disagreements or distrust of foundational teachers or cultural roots can also be seen from this placement. Now, moon going into the 11th house of your horoscope, these people, they possess key traits of friendly, goal oriented, and emotionally attuned to large communities, social networks, and distributed systems kind of personality. Their focus is on, they always focus on goals, aims, achievements, and friends. Comfortable in socialite roles, working with grid works, so associations, and economic systems. The life mate for the moon in the 11th house is typically five-ish, or the fifth house, because 7 places away from the 11th house is the fifth house. So we'll see your spouse exhibiting qualities such as brilliance, intelligence, creative, regal and game loving, attention seeking, entertainment, self centered, theatrical, and the partner may enjoy being the center of attention with a love for applause and public admiration, because the fifth house is of the sun in the Kalpurusha's Kundali. Conditions of the first marriage typically framed in fifth house narratives. You'll see the fifth house coming into your, or activating into your marriage, because your moon is placed in the 11th house, which includes politics, drama, applause seeking, royal like attention, uh, radiance, and confidence, performance, adolescence, romantic idealism, and personal creativity as well. Now, marriage environment may focus on creative expressions, celebrations, or the couple's children as well. So, all these karakas of the fifth house will uh, be significantly portraying into your marriage because your moon is in the 11th house. The life mate, he or she possesses characteristics of central stage personality such as charming, glittering, fashionable, and uniquely talented, often accustomed to admiration and attention, possibly stemming from a childhood where they were center of attention. Other traits such as speculative, entertaining, and celebratory, LifeMate is often creative and speculative, motivated by drama, celebrity, romance, and playful activities. Marriage may involve creativity, romance, and possibly celebrations centered around children. They may display personal charm mixed with a love for gambling or speculative risk taking, such as stock markets, romantic but frustrating, as their life may seem driven by the next big win or adventure, because it is the fifth house which is taken into the consideration. Now, challenges within the union, they come from the sixth, from the fifth house, 6 places away from the fifth house, which becomes your karm sthan or the 10th house. Now, the influence here represents the source of constitutional challenges within the union, the 10th house. Now, what type of issues you may face? Like, these issues may include accusation, disappointment, disagreement, or distrust within the partnership, public visibility, professional duties, because it is the 10th house, the karm sthan, leadership roles, and social authority. Depending on the nature of any planet located in the 10th house, these results may alter, and the conflicts may arise on matters involving organizational governance and career as well, ambitions as well, and in combination, in mixing with the planet which is situated in the 10th house. Now, the last but not the least, moon going into the 12th house of your horoscope. Now, these persons, they possess great traits of private, withdrawing, imaginative. They seek sanctuary, engages in research, conceptual thought, theory, and interior guidance. They are drawn to sanctuary environments, including foreign travel, isolation, and imaginative or subconscious realms. Their life is shaped on these indications and factors. They may often withdraw into protective isolation either for research, contemplation, or emotional protection, whatever their aim may be, but only between all these factors. Now, the native here often experiences a sense of maternal absence, either through physical loss, which is the premature death of your mother or the motherly figure, or emotional unavailability. Now, this is the thing which will be taken into consideration if your 12th house is not well disposed. Now, it also anticipates that intimate partners may display characteristics of the 6th house, which is directly opposite to it, which are conflicts, accusations, toxicity, or service ministry. Desired life mate qualities typically embodies the qualities of the Aribhav or the 6th house, displaying traits such as service oriented or suffering behavior. A focus on dealing with conflict, accusation, imbalance, and toxicity is involved, inclined towards roles within medical, military, or ministry based professions, or alternatively, they may experience exploitation, chronic illness, or victimization. To put it into more simpler words, I would like to say that the life mate may follow one of the two paths. Here, this placement, this moon gives your spouse two choices, either to serve or to suffer. Now, what is the first? Either to serve, they may engage in professionalized helping roles such as medical workers, human service providers, military officers, or other assistant helper roles. or suffer. They may need assistance. Then, displaying traits of exploitation, victimization, and sickness or chronic conflicts, because it is the sixth house, the Aribhav. So this serve or suffer vortex will be seen throughout the marriage. The conditions of the first marriage follows, it typically follows the sixth house narrative, which includes service, exploitation, chronic conflict, illnesses, all that have said before, accusation and imbalances, etc. Your life mate may also exhibit argumentative, complaining tendencies as well, if even if they are into the sixth house professions or karmas. The partner may work in medical services, military roles, human services, or engage in legal advocacy. Example, criminal defense attorneys or advocates for the underprivileged or downtrodden people coming in the strata of society. Now, they may also be involved in environments associated with toxic practices, such as working with pollution or unethical behavior, or something which is like working in a hazardous chemical in factory. Even in cases where the partner holds a big social status, the the dynamic of suffering, imbalance, or dissatisfaction may persist. Potential challenges of the sixth house are always present into the lives of these couples. Challenges within the union, which is the sixth from the seventh from moon, or the 12th of from the Chandra or moon, highlights the marital difficulties experienced in the union. Here it is the sixth from the sixth, which is the Bhavad Bhavam Labsthan, or the 11th house of your horoscope. So now the influence in getting social material goals, community engagement, and economic earnings. Uh, the disagreements in the union, they may arise on the following matters of paternal relatives, social networks, and material goals and economic earnings. Depending on the presence of any planet in the 11th house, we will have to judge and predict our conclusions from there as well. But this placement of moon in the 12th house, if the 12th house is not well disposed and you damage 6th house as well, then this axis might not work well in terms of marriage and partnerships and unionships. Now here I have to make a very important announcement, or I have to impart an important piece of information, that is, all the indications and techniques I've shared with you all are only related to the first marriage or the first union. If you are searching something which is related to the second marriage or the second union or other further unions as well, these indications would not apply on them, because the techniques to see the second marriage and the third marriage and the fourth marriages are all different. So for that I'll make videos in future. Now, if you like this video, don't forget to like it, and please tell me your insights and experiences in the comment section below. Also, if you enjoyed the content, share it with your friends and family. If you want to get regularly updated, and if you want to see more such interesting topics being discussed on this channel, do not forget to subscribe it. Thank you.